Okay, we're perfect.
That's what I've always said, and everyone laughs. Sometimes they point.
Ooh, I hate that part.
Usually they're too busy holding their gut. So, off we begin.
Pretentious? Moi?
Us?
We?
Wait a minute. If you're so anti-pretentious, do you become pretentious coming around the circle?
You might.
You know, like if you take far left and far right far enough, they're basically brothers.
Yeah, they're authoritarian
They're
pukes.
basically different sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
So if you take the pretentious and the unpretentious and you go really extreme,
we're so violently unpretentious.
could we be the tails of a head-bound coin? What?
Headbound?
Let's just go this way. Like, subscribe, and follow This Is Truly News because we're pretentious.
And click. Sorry.
You like, subscribe, and follow us because we're pretentious.
And click.
You send us stories because we're clickbait.
Clickbait. Yeah. I like
you
where
can
this
send those
is going.
stories to TITR@netradio.network. Thank you. And please, if you could, send them with pretension in your heart. That would be best.
And not hyper-retention.
No, that would be
bad.
Usually. And if you got a comment, good, bad, or indifferent, or pretentious, or if you just think we're clickbait, leave a comment wherever you find this, whatever this is, and good on you.
I didn't even come close to hurting my feelings. I mean,
I'm basically crushed over here. I'm not sure I'll ever get up again. And I wore my Gophers sweatshirt for this. At least I didn't shave my legs.
This is True, Really News with Scott Combs and Tony Vercanis. All the news you're about to hear is true.
Really?
As far as you know.
An infant in Maryland had teeth form in his brain as a result of a specific type of rare brain tumor.
No.
Yes.
No.
Doctors were able to remove the tumor, and the boy made a full recovery, according to a report published in the New England Journal of Medicine. Doctors suspected something might be going on inside the boy's brain when his head appeared to grow faster than was usual for his age.
Hey.
A scan of the child's brain revealed a tumor that contained what looked like teeth normally found in the lower jaw. And indeed, when doctors removed the tumor, they extracted several...
from the moon, that's not a far distance.
No, it's not. It's just a few inches.
But biologically speaking...
long way to go.
I'm thinking.
When the doctors removed the tumor, they extracted several fully formed teeth. Now, teeth do sometimes appear in tumors. Here's the weird part.
Like as guest stars?
Maybe. Guest starring as his molars in his brain.
Wow.
The type of tumor removed from the infant's brain, and it's called a craniopharyngioma.
Of course it is.
Isn't known to host such things. But there they were.
Well, great for him. He gets to be special.
Well, he's getting his first,
teeth.
I was just thinking first tooth fairy payments.
So when you read something and you're chewing on it mentally.
It's
apparently possible.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
I'm a son of Flabber. I'm gasted.
Oh.
Where was I?
Flabbers have rarely been this gasted.
Hardly ever. They've been gasted before.
Yes.
But not this flabbergasted.
Right.
So we've had Florida men stories.
Yes,
we've had our fair share of Florida women's stories, which led me to wonder, is it the state? And if it is, Florida, never change, ever. Ever, never, never. Because you are a wealth of information. So the heroine of our story, the
subject,
the lady of our story.
Oh.
Yes, it's not really a Florida. Hang on. The heroine, ? Of our story, endangered countless lives before finally pulling a class act at the end of a high-speed chase. Courtney Epps is from South Carolina. Recently led Florida cops on a high-speed chase down US 1, which is that marvelous road you see, like if you've watched True Lies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one that goes through the Keys.
Yep.
Florida Keys. So, no, she's South Carolina, not Floridian, but man, the behavior so fits. The 41-year-old roared down the highway at speeds reaching 120 miles an hour. At one point, she barely missed out, hitting marathon runners jogging on the side of the road. And the cops finally ended her rampage, took her in, and she had one more classic, really. Hang on. Let's just start at the beginning, a very good place to start. You probably won't be surprised to understand that Epps was under the influence of something. That will be, yeah. If you're wondering what charges might be filed, if you just look at the driving things, the road, the charges she could be 55 miles an hour was a joke. I mean, she passed that at light speed.
Yep.
She also apparently was traveling north, right? So she was heading away from Key West, heading north in the southbound lanes. Seemingly, I've seen this in movies. It always looks so cool when the hero has to do that.
Oh, man.
So she was, yeah. She
Scary
was
as heck when you do it, when you're there seeing it.
As you may have
Had
guessed,
that happen.
As you may have guessed, Florida Highway Patrol thought this wasn't good. We
Yeah.
shall stop her.
Okay.
They had the lights, they had the sirens. There were more than a couple. So you can't really say she ignored them or didn't know of them. I'm just thinking at some level she decided, which is
Yep.
is
Perhaps probably verbatim.
58 in South Carolina.
Right.
So she just hit the gas harder. Troopers pursued her over the famous 7-mile bridge. She was traveling between 90 and 120 miles an hour. Again, going north in the southbound lanes.
Oh.
Since she didn't intend to stop on her own, the troopers decided they would help. So they threw out the old spike strips. We don't know how, but they had to throw them out twice because she evaded the first round.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Second one got her, though. The
Okay.
old Chevrolet she was driving, and it still didn't stop her. She just kept careening forward on 3 burst tires, straight toward a large group of runners participating in a half marathon. Remember them?
Yeah.
Fortunately, Epps' car missed the runners. Thank you. As she zoomed by them, 2 of the wrecked tires on her car finally gave up the ghost and just broke off. In another great stroke of providence, I don't believe in luck, but I believe in providence.
Yeah.
Neither tire hit anybody.
Good deal. Mm-hmm.
Wow. They did, however, cause significant damage to 2 of the marathon organizers' vehicles, which were along the side of the road. Finally, Epps crashed into a construction site near mile marker 80. Cops, of course, swarmed the car, took her into custody. As they dragged her from her rather ruined vehicle, it was clear that Epps wasn't in a functioning state of mind. This was not the first clue, I'm sure, that they had. In her arrest report, she had extremely constricted pupils, did not respond to verbal or physical stimulation, and only stared straight forward in silence, which is probably how she was driving. Uncertain whether she was under the influence or experiencing some kind of medical situation, the doctors took her to the hospital because that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yet she wasn't done causing public outrage. Remember I told you there was a real class act part?
Yes.
While she was getting checked out in the hospital lobby, Epps began to sing gospel songs in a loud voice and then peed her pants.
Well, you always do at the end of a gospel chorus.
No one ever does.
You don't?
Not anyone.
Well, I'm going to have to
Ever.
change the way I do.
Well, now, not anyone ever. There's 2. So having evacuated her bladder, Epps began to pass in and out of consciousness because it's what you do, I guess, after you've... Well, I mean, come on, it's tiring on a high-speed chase. She received treatment, repeatedly alternated between sleeping, singing, and talking nonsense. I'm not sure how you could actually tell the difference, except the sleeping would be quieter. At first, she agreed to a field sobriety test, bizarrely. So she hit the breathalyzer.
Yeah.
And read 0.0. So she's under the influence. It's just
Of something.
alcohol.
Yeah. Okay.
After blowing into the breathalyzer, she suddenly refused to give the urine sample. Well, she was all played out. Because
She gave the sample anyway.
the reason she did not give a urine sample was God the Father had told her to stop peeing. Wow.
Well, I'm glad God the Father took over.
So she went into, if only Jesus would have taken the wheel much earlier.
Yeah, really. Jesus, take the wheel. She's loaded.
Yep. Following this, she was booked into Plantation Key Jail, where she is being held on $16,000 bond among the litany of things she's been charged with, which I'm guessing if you rolled it, like the old days in the scrolls,
Yep.
it would be taller than me.
Likely.
But among the things we're sure of is she's being busted for a DUI. Feeling. Okay, guys, fleeing has an L in it at the beginning of the two E's, not at the end.
Feeling an officer. Hey, you don't know.
We do.
Maybe.
She was doing 90 to 120 miles an hour.
Yeah, but when they grabbed her, she could have,
You might know she was basically comatose or singing and peeing.
well, she could have copped a feel.
Let's try it this way.
Okay.
She's been charged with DUI and fleeing or eluding with disregard for the safety of persons or property.
Now,
That's kinda
switch
nice.
that around and read feeling in there and see if it
Okay.
makes sense.
She's been charged with DUI and feeling or eluding with disregard for the safety. Nope. See, I was right.
See. I love it that way.
So as I say, Epps is not from Florida, but the state is clearly rubbed off on her. Florida never change. As long as your maniacs can do this sort of thing without killing anyone, that's good.
Let's go down under, shall we?
Australia?
Yes.
Mate? E?
Mum?
No, wait, that'd make me a pirate. Ma'am. They know how to say it in Australia. If you're talking to mom, she's a gray-haired person who raised you. If they say ma'am, it's your boss. Unless it's a guy, in which case they say governor. To their face afterwards, they say all sorts of things.
Yeah, ma'am.
I've seen Australian TV.
A patient in his 30s was taken to Nine Wells Hospital, Dundee, in severe pain after he pinched. Is that
Croc has a hospital named after him? Or a city?
I think I may have misspoken. I think this may be in Ireland.
Which is a lot like Australia, only a little bit different.
Yep.
In everything.
Well, they have more Lucky Charms in Ireland.
More kilts in Ireland.
Most of the time. Anyway.
Less Sydney symphonies in Ireland.
He was taken to Nine Wells Hospital, Dundee, in severe pain. After, are you ready for this there, my young man?
Not.
He pinched his nose and closed his mouth to stifle a sneeze.
Okay, I think I've done that.
Scans revealed he suffered a 2-millimeter tear in his windpipe.
That can't be good on anybody's list of things.
If both mouth and nose are closed during a sneeze, the pressure in the upper airways can increase by about 20 times, which can lead to injuries, including ruptured eardrums, aneurysms, broken ribs, and the aforementioned tears in your windpipe. A sudden throat tear, known medically as a spontaneous tracheal perforation, is rare and can be potentially life-threatening. When doctors examined the patient, they heard a cracking sound after touching his neck and found out he did not.
When I see those in movies, it's generally someone's like, and they're dying.
Yeah, right. And he did not have control of movement. Didn't need surgery. Was kept at the hospital for observation. Upon discharge, he was given painkillers.
He was kept at hospital.
Yeah.
It's Ireland.
Given painkillers and hay fever medication because he had allergies. Yeah, right. Doctors also advised him to avoid any strenuous physical activity for 2 weeks. 5 weeks later, they checked in on him. He was fine.
This is true, really news. Send email to TITR@netradio.network.